And so we take a few moments to come apart. And as you breathe, be conscious of your breathing, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And follow your breath inward. Focus on your breath. Take another nice deep breath and let it out. And as you continue to do that, noticing your breath, you feel your chest rise with each inhale and lower with each exhale. You're aware more of your body. And so move your attention inward. And as you breathe, imagine that breath is going right to your heart, filling your heart and your lungs and all your tissues, bringing your attention away from the outer world and in to the inner world, our real world, the truth, where we live, where God lives and moves and has his being. So continue to be aware of your breath and noticing with each breath you are relaxing more into your chair. Speak the words inwardly, peace, be still, and feel your body respond. Again, noticing each breath. You are relaxing more. You are letting go. Feel the lightness as you release those things that weigh you down. Feel the light and see the inner light within you glowing more and more, spreading out past your physical limitations of your body out into this world, from this room out into the world. The peace that we're feeling, the light that we're experiencing, allows that joy from within to start bubbling up for no reason except that's who we are. We feel that lightness and the bubbling, and we allow it to flow. And we feel what that natural high feels like. This is who we are. This is the truth of our being. It's the Christ self within expressing itself. The God of creation living through us, as us, expressing uniquely. Right behind that joy is the natural love that comes from within our very being. And we allow that love to spread through ourselves. We bathe ourselves in God's self-love. I am a child of God, filled with light, filled with love, filled with joy, radiating out into the world. I am one with God. And as we have focused and been aware of our breath, know that the universe is responding and is filled with that joy and light and love. And the angels are smiling, supporting us, helping us. And so with hearts filled with gratitude, we move our awareness back to this room, and we notice, as we have been focusing on our breath and our inward self, we haven't felt our worries or our cares or our troubles. So we say, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you. Amen.
This morning I got up and went, it's a rainy day. And then suddenly I realized, oh, that's a good day. There's nothing better to do than to come to church. If you're missing a few people, it's because of that party we're having after second service. Come back if you like. And I'm also going to encourage you to keep in mind the midweek class happening at 7:30. It's down in Meyer Hall, 7 o'clock. Thank you. I'm trying to make your people late. 7 o'clock down in Meyer Hall. It's more informal, so it's a really nice atmosphere. And take advantage of that midweek opportunity for a spiritual uplift while we got it. Okay? I do have one last announcement that is poignant to this service. Dave Schatzberger passed last week, and I just did his service last evening. If you're on the email list, you got the notification. If you didn't, please let us know what your email is so we can let you know when things are going on. They used to sit, David and Linda used to sit right back there all the time, and this was their service. He was a wonderful being, past board member, and we bless him on his way. He's on to greater things. Most of you who knew him knew he's been facing ALS for some time now. And this was a blessing to move on. Okay, this morning I want to talk about holding focus. Holding focus. Interesting subject in the age of multitasking, right? I almost wonder whether humanity is doing a little bit of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You know, I mean, we progress from place to place, but right now the hottest thing around is multitasking. And in this age, you probably need to learn this. It's a skill worth using in this age. But its opposite is holding focus on one thing. Concentration. And if you really want to generate spiritual energy, concentration is what you want to do. I like to think, we used to, here I'm going to have fun for a second, we used to call multitasking being scattered. Actually, multitasking is being scattered, but being good at it. Okay? It's kind of like Toy Story. Remember Buzz Lightyear and Woody, and Buzz says he can fly, and after he does his thing, Woody says, "You weren't flying, you were falling with style." And multitasking is having your attention in several different directions with style, being good at it. But don't give up the other skill. The other skill is being able to focus. You can create tremendous spiritual power by bringing focus to what you are doing. The spiritual law of focus goes like this. Whatever I hold my attention upon will grow in my life. Now you say, well, I want a bunch of things in my life, so I'm growing all kinds of things. Okay, well, that's wonderful. But there comes a time in your life when you realize one of these things isn't growing well. And I need more of this in my life. That means you're going to have to put focus on this area and hold it there until you see it fill your life. If you put your attention on something and leave it there, it'll grow. If your attention is on politics and how divisive it has become, which in this day and age it's hard not to, you're helping it become more divisive. Our attention is right there. If this is what's going on a regular basis, our attention is there. Okay? If your attention is on the squeaky wheel, you're probably going to have 2 squeaky wheels before long. And if your attention is on the goodness in your life, that's going to grow. And you're going to have a lot more goodness coming your way. These are spiritual principles, and they hold true through every aspect of life. Now, I often, when I talk about this, want to describe, in each of the 12 powers, we give the 12 powers, quote, spiritual energies, are relating a spiritual energy to a disciple, assuming that each disciple was chosen to represent an aspect of the spiritual path. And we know that Peter represents faith, okay? So when we're talking about Peter, we're talking about faith. But we do not believe it's coincidence that Peter and Andrew are brothers. We think that's part of the divine order of it all. Because Andrew represents strength. By that we don't mean power. We mean endurance, steadfastness. And the bottom line is, you can have this wonderful revelation of faith, but if you can't hang on to it, it hasn't got any power in your life. It doesn't really do its job. These 2 qualities have to go together. You've got to be able to see the spiritual potential of where you're going. That's called faith. And then you've got to hold that vision until it takes form in your life, until it finds full expression. Focused prayer, not falling with style. Focused prayer is amazingly powerful. It gets results. But focus in prayer has 4 ingredients. The first is intent. Your intent has to be clear. If you think I want this, but I might want that, hey, you don't know where you're going. Spirit doesn't know how to handle a double message. The universe says, oh well, when you make up your mind, let me know. Intent. Held with faith, that's the ability to know that once I have held it in mind and held it in prayer, it is real on the higher planes. It already has a reality that my eyes cannot see and my hands cannot touch, but it's just as real. Because if it is real on this level, it must eventually express on the next, on the lower level where we are, where we're seeing it. I used to say faith, if you want to be clear on it, faith is not thinking it's so. Faith is not even believing it's so. If you think it's so, it's real easy. Someone can talk you out of it. If you believe it's so, if things get bad enough, you can change your belief. Faith is knowing it is so. No matter what the outer world says to you, you know it's so. And that's powerful. But once again, over time steadfastly is the third quality. Andrew, we're going to throw in endurance. You've got to endure in your knowing. Because once you know it to be so, it's yours. But you are negotiating time. Whether it's going to express immediately or whether it's going to take it a while, you have to be of that opinion that says, as long as it takes, I will hold this until it takes form in my life. Now that makes it powerful. And the last one is intensity. Pour your energy into it. That's what concentration, focus is all about. It's about intensifying your knowing. It's about knowing it intensely. Concentrating it. Now, focus. Did Jesus address it? If you look it up on Google and you go to all those sites, they're really not very good at it. They didn't even get the main one, surprisingly enough. Yeah, he did. He gave a whole parable to it. Here we go. Luke 18, 1 through 7. Jesus spoke to them a parable that they should pray always and not get weary. They should stay focused as long as it takes. There was a judge in a city who neither feared God nor regarded men. And there was a widow in that city that used to come to him, saying, "Avenge me of my accuser." And he would not for a long time. But afterwards he said to himself, "Though I'm not afraid of God and I have no regard for men, yet because this widow troubles me, I will avenge her so that she may not keep coming and annoying me." Then our Lord said, "Hear what the unjust judge said. Would not God avenge his chosen ones much more, who call upon him day and night? And he has patience with them." Prayer is something that you place your focus on. You hold it there. And you call on God day and night. You continue to hold that as long as it takes. The widow kept coming in. She just kept coming in. And finally the guy says, "Okay, I'll do it." He says, "Now, I'm not suggesting God is the unjust judge. I'm saying that if you understand even the unjust judge did it this way, can you not imagine that the Spirit of life that loves you will not respond if you stay focused on where you intend to take your life?" 1 Thessalonians 5:17 and 21, Paul says, "Pray without ceasing. Hold fast to that which is good." Pray without ceasing. Oh my God, I got to keep going. I've got to keep saying, "Our Father who art in heaven" all day long. No, you have to hold your knowing of where you are going without ceasing. Hold your focus until you're there. Doesn't mean you can't multitask and do everything else. Okay? But your intent is clear and it stays clear. And you're reminding yourself of it on a regular basis. This is where I'm going. I know this prayer shall be fulfilled. I just don't know how long it's going to take. And it doesn't matter because I'm going to hold it until it's fulfilled. Proverbs 4:23 and 25, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Let your eyes look straight forward. There was a time in my life when I said, to get out of where I am, I have got to look straight forward. I cannot look backward or side to side. I cannot look at my life with regret for what has happened. I can only look forward. And there is something very powerful about focusing your energy forward, not side to side or back. Keep your eyes straight ahead. Know where you're going. I am going to healing. I am going into this state of harmony and love. I am going into God's abundance. Where are you going? But the first part was keep your heart with all diligence. They used to talk about the beginnings of New Thought as mental science because we talked about controlling our thoughts until we realized that what is even more important than controlling your thoughts is your feelings. You can think all the right thoughts, and if you travel through life feeling devastation while declaring goodness, I guarantee you devastation's going to win out. Your heart is always stronger. So watch your heart with diligence. Keep your energy focused. If you're talking about joy and happiness and that's what you want in your life, you're going to have to keep moving your heart that direction. If you're talking about attracting to me my perfect love for the rest of my life, you're going to have to feel that sense of love. You say, that's not fair. I'm not there yet. But that's what being a spiritual being is all about. Where you are inside is what you're creating. It's taking control of the creative process. So yeah, you're going to have to go around and give love to everyone you can so that you are watching your heart. You are keeping it diligently focused on the energy that you expect your life to be filled with. Because sometimes it isn't about a thing that we're praying for. It's about an energy state. It's about living in joy, as we talked about last week. It's about being in gratitude. Abundance in the end is an energy state. I know we think it's a pile of things. But you can have a pile of things and still not live in abundance. It's a feeling. So, focus. Do you know that what you focus your energy on, you are pouring your life force into? And it is powerful in your life to create. Well, I remember a long time ago, very long time ago now, I was going through a rough time. Things weren't going well with the church I was in and so forth. And, occasionally, we've not seen it in years and years and years, but, occasionally political intrigue gets into a situation like this. And I was off on vacation trying to decide what I was going to do. And I was on my parents' property, and at that time the ranchers were still driving cattle up and down through. They'd cut the fence so the cattle could come right through our property and things like that, which was, and our job was to chase them away. But I'm watching this one bull coming down through there, and Dad had a couple of dogs at that time with him. I think he had my sister's dog and his, and they were Australian Shepherds. And here's the bull coming down, and it's headed down onto our property, and Dad sent the dogs out after him. And we got these two dogs just snapping at this bull's heels like crazy. And he wanted to come down to this pond we had down there. He's headed down there, but the dogs are just snapping at him and snapping at him. And the bull is huge. There's no way those dogs could have stopped him. Except that he lost his focus. He paid attention to the dogs snapping at his heels instead of where he was going. And life's like that. I went home with my answer. That was it. Everything went well from that point on. If you're focused, the dogs can snap at your heels all they want, but they cannot stop you. Now, I want to go another direction for a minute and remind you of something that I've told over and over. You know, my 9th grade science project, or science, there was an experiment the teacher did in class. I don't understand these blank looks. I've told it so many times it's ridiculous. Okay, bottom line is, the reason I'm going to retell it is because this is what we are doing, okay, when we are holding focus. Science experiment had to do with a large drum head, you know, about the size of that thing over there. No, not the little one, the big one. Okay. And he stuck and it was just the top part. So he stuck the head on a couple of blocks, so it's up in the air. Then he stuck a large horseshoe magnet underneath it and poured iron filings all over the top, and then took nice little, what's the pounder called? Mallet. Oh, I like that. What? Shovel? That's good too. I'm going to go with mallet. He took the mallet and he went, and they jumped up in the air and they went back down. Didn't look like much had changed. But after he did it 50, 100 times, you could see, and because this magnet is held underneath, every time there was a little bit of movement, there was an imperceptible movement in which the iron filings started to line up just a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more. And finally, you saw exactly the lines of force from that magnet. When you have spiritual focus on what you are creating in your life, you're holding that magnet underneath your drumhead, underneath your life. And every time you have an experience, every single day is a mallet knock. You know, it's a boom on that. And your life goes up in the air, and when it comes back down, things move just a little bit, almost imperceptibly. But at the end, if you hold focus over time, they'll line up. And that which you've been praying for will take form in your life. Now, there's 3 levels upon which we use this. Number 1, we use spiritual focus for our prayer projects. That is, we focus on what we want in our life. I want this thing. I want a new car. I want a new house. I want a new job. I want to draw to me my perfect mate. I mean, whatever. You're allowed to do all of it. But if you really want to have it in your life, you'll hold focus. You're going to need to hold focus for a while. Catherine Ponder wrote a lot of her books back in the 50s and 60s, so this was before the computer age. It's a typewriter story. The guy needed a typewriter. He wanted to do some writing. He didn't have a typewriter. He needed one, and so he prayed for a typewriter. And he prayed for a typewriter. And he prayed for a typewriter. And he was about to give up. He was like, and then he said, no, I will not. I am holding that my typewriter is coming to me. Within a day or two, he had a typewriter. And the next morning, he had an even better typewriter. And when the next day a third typewriter showed up, he said to the universe, enough! I'm not wanting to run a typewriter store. He had held the focus long enough. Things started, when they really did finally start flowing, they were flowing. Now, another woman in Miami was trying to sell her mobile. And if this is a story of mine from Miami, I was there in the 70s as a minister. Though I looked like a little kid in that day and age. I know that's hard to imagine now. She came into class week after week and saying, I'm praying to sell my mobile. And she said, I've had no action on it. 6 weeks in, she's saying, I've had no action. Maybe I'll just take it back off the market. She went and we talked a little bit. She went home, she thought about it, and she said, no, I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to keep praying. And the following week, she came in and said, I've got a buyer. And I would have taken it off the market last week just before that happened. That's really important to remember. We often want to give up on our prayers just before they've reached that critical point where it starts to happen. Just before the iron filings actually line up. Now, that's for your prayer projects. But you also hold your focus on spiritual energies that you want your life immersed in. I want more joy in my life. I want to live a life based in love. I want to be surrounded by beauty. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to be at peace with my world. That's what we're going to do next week. And once again, it's focus. You focus in on this energy. You know, it's kind of like that white stone ceremony where we, in August, we go back and we give you this stone and we say, okay, now I want you to write on it one word that is what you want most out of life by the end of the year. You write it down, put it on your desk, you look at it every day. You keep uppermost in your mind what I'm looking for. Are you looking for success? Are you looking for joy? Are you looking for harmony? Are you looking for peace, contentment? Keep your heart diligently. Keep your heart centered in this quality that you want to be fully expressed in your life. And there is one third level. Hold your focus on humanity awakening to harmony and oneness. You are living your life, but you are also part of humanity, a little tiny piece of it. And it's a lot bigger than the 100 years we're going to see. But we need to hold the vision that humanity is awakening. So here we go. How to use spiritual focus to achieve your prayer goals. Number 1, create a clear vision of what you want in your life and keep returning to this vision. I know we think prayer is something you do once and forget about. Occasionally that works. But if it's not working, it's time to bring Andrew into the situation. It's time to bring in endurance and focus. It's time to bring our energies together and say, I'm going to hold my focus on this. If you hold your focus on something long enough, it will show up. There is actually no doubt about that. So visualize the life you are creating and the things you're drawing into your life. You want to create a vision of what it means. You want to be clear about it. So create a vision and return to it over and over. Daily, remember your vision. Every day, remember where you're going. What is the dream? Are you moving into the dream? I used to have a statement that said, something about I am demonstrating the dream piece by piece. All the pieces are slowly coming together. Number 2, if number 1 is create a clear vision, second is never give up. Each day, reattach your intent, including your will and intensity. That's focus. To your vision and everything in it. Don't just say, oh yeah, that's my dream. No, that's where I'm going. There is commitment there. Recommit to your intent every single day until it is your life. Be the widow. Keep coming back. Hold your focus until the pieces come into place. Affirm, I will hold my focus for as long as it takes. That has to be the attitude. I don't care how long it takes. I quit when this is over. When I have fully demonstrated it, I'll let up. Until then, I'll do whatever's as ever long as is required of me. Now that's powerful. Use intent, will, and intensity to claim it is yours today. Know it's already yours. Which is where we're going with the third one. Use faith daily to quietly know that your vision is already real in the higher realms and seeking expression in your life. Do you know it's coming? I remember, I've told the story before of a girl that was a friend of mine, and she was quite attractive, and maybe it was this next sentence that'll explain why she didn't seem to be able to demonstrate a relationship. She says, I want to know, how do you trap a guy? And of course my comment was, well, I think the question is your answer. If that's your attitude, it probably isn't going to happen. But I remember in trying to describe to her, I said, I know that Spirit is already drawing to me my perfect person, and eventually that person will come to me. I know that's going to happen. And she said, I wish I knew that. What is it like to go through your life not knowing that your good is going to come to you? Boy, that's got to be hard. That's got to be hard. So, use faith to daily, quietly know that your vision is already real in the higher realms. It's already fulfilled. What, on the astral plane? Wherever it is you want to declare it, in the invisible realms, it's already done. We're just negotiating time here. That's all we're doing. How many mallet whacks it's going to take on our drum head to get there, to line things up. And do that. Imagine, use your faith to imagine this faith is that magnet that's underneath my life. And it is lining things up. Just use that visual. Number 4, create affirmations for your goals and use them hundreds of times during your day. This is so reminiscent of the widow, it's ridiculous. You just keep coming back, annoying the tar out of life. I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. I am loved. My life is filled with love and joy. Do you know how many times I said that while I felt miserable? And eventually I got to where I didn't feel miserable anymore. You just said, if you took the 4T Prosperity Program, which for years and years and years we taught every year, and then it kind of got old. But part of that is he sends you home with his homework. You're to say, I am prosperous, and you're to say it 100 times a day. Now, 100 times is not hard at all, particularly if you do it while you're driving, which is what I like to do. I like to do my affirmations while I'm driving. I got nothing better to do. Why not just keep affirming? And generally, I'm the only one in the car when I do that. Otherwise, it is annoying. So, in any case, but this affirmation now represents what you are focused on, and your commitment to keep using it every day, and maybe 100 times every day, is a real steadfast commitment. It helps you establish that focus. Number 5, each evening before bed, think of Jesus' promise, ask and ye shall receive. Ask and ye shall receive. Then ask God, ask your angels to carry out your prayer projects. Ask the universe. Ask all the invisible forces that surround you. Ask God. I don't care who or what you ask, but allow the higher forces of life to move. Keep inviting them in to take command of this situation. I know, once again, years ago, in 45 years you do end up with a lot of stories from years ago. I had a friend, her name was Wendy, and she told me she wanted to see Jesus' face in meditation. Well, okay. I didn't bother to tell her my concerns about what kind of face are you going to see? Is it going to be Anglo-Saxon or Eastern? Is it going to be, and since we know that when he walked with the disciples on the road to Emmaus, he was not recognizable, I'm not sure what that means. But then that's me tying it up in knots. That was not her. She just knew she wanted to see Jesus' face. And every night she would go into meditation and she'd ask to see Jesus' face. And she'd wait. And when nothing happened, she'd go on with her prayer and meditation time. This went on for 6 weeks. She didn't give up. She just kept asking, waiting, and then going on with her prayer work. And finally one day she called me all excited. She said, last night it worked. I asked, and all of a sudden 2 of the most loving eyes I've ever seen in my life came up in my field of vision. I thought, well, that erases the need to determine which ethnic group he is in. 2 of the most loving eyes. She got what she wanted. But she had to keep asking. Number 6. Keep quietly focused on goodness. We're starting to stretch it out now. Remember I said you can ask for a thing, but you can also ask for a quality. And quite frankly, in the end, as we evolve, we'll be more interested in the qualities than they will in the things. If you can immerse yourself in goodness, you will not have to determine which things you need. Good things will come to you automatically. Let God choose. Sometimes God knows good things I didn't even think of. So concentrate on goodness. This is keep your heart with all diligence. Goodness might include health, prosperity, success, love, joy, opportunities, beauty, etc., etc. And keep focused on these qualities every day and know you are creating a life immersed in this spiritual energy. That's that rock. One word written on there that represents what I want most out of life. Philippians 4:8. It reads, whatever is true, honest, just, pure, lovely, of good report, if there is any virtue, if there is any praise, think about these things. That's focus. Keep focused on the goodness of life. And that is what you will draw out of life. So I have a suggestion. Whatever is true, honest, just, pure, lovely, of good report, if there is any virtue, if there is any praise, think about these things. Try it for 21 days. And if you can, go longer. I'll bet after 21 days you can probably do it longer without any problem. First 21 will be the hard. Keep your focus for 21 days. Can you do that? If you can, your life will change dramatically. I am quite convinced of that. That leaves us at number 7, the final one. This one takes it to a whole new level, that third level I talked about, humanity. Join in on your soul's prayer project. We've been doing our prayer projects. Join in on your soul's prayer project by holding the vision of harmony and oneness for humanity. You are you, but you are also humanity. You are also part of the whole that we call humanity. And here's the deal. Your personality came in for you, but I guarantee you your soul came in for humanity. So spend just a little bit of your energy joining with your soul, which is already doing its work setting up that magnet. The soul is set on a project that lasts 1,000 years, not what I'm going to do in the next 2 or 3. The soul is set on coming in and holding that magnet under humanity until personalities finally do actually respond. Not just yours. Until everybody begins to respond. Be part of a prayer project that's greater than yourself. And join the great beings of light that are holding this vision for 1,000 years. Be part of them. Be the magnet under the drumhead that eventually lines up humanity on a higher level. In the Bible, they call it a new heaven and a new earth. Lining humanity up on a higher level. Let's close our eyes. Father, give us the strength to ignore the dogs nipping at our heels, to see the goal, to set our sights upon it, and to hold our focus until it is fully expressed in our lives. Thy will be done through each and every one of us. Amen. The ushers who come forward will prepare for our offering. So we hold